Hello and welcome to the Love, Peace, Truth, Karma podcast. I'm your host, Leanne Brown, and today I've got the incredible and very beautiful Sophie Baines here with me. She is our goddess chef on the Rise of the Divine Feminine retreats and also a health and wellness coach. She has got an amazing story, so you're going to love this.
If you're in China, you just know it's corrupt. They want it to be like that here.
People are pretending to be 12-year-old kids, mate, and they're not.
Yeah.
They're 40-year-old men.
Now we're getting bombarded with all these death numbers, but there's no context there.
He'd got one child pregnant, he'd raped many others, and we had evidence to prove that.
Do you think evil still exists today as it did back then? And the answer should very simply be yes.
Before I get started today, I just want to announce some really exciting news. I have been asked to team up with Start Fitness Retreats to offer an exquisite collaboration. This is just what you need to fully charge your mind, body and soul. Be prepared to immerse yourself in a wonderful experience, connecting with like-minded souls that are also passionate about improving themselves through mindset, fitness and self-care. This stunning farm is eco-friendly and the perfect location, situated in central Portugal next to a lake and a beautiful woodland. I will be offering in this retreat meditation, yoga, cacao ceremony and have breathwork specialist Craig Seaton and sound bath technician Amy Azari coming along with me to provide everything you need to completely replenish your soul. As well as the above, the guys at Stark also have extensive knowledge in fitness and nutrition, which will be included in the itinerary. On site, there is mountain biking, paddle boards, kayaking, or maybe you would like to just chill by the poolside. This is your time, so you decide. All welcome. Share the love. The retreat dates are from the 7th of May 2022 to the 14th of May 2022 for 7 nights. Please click the link below to find out more details on how to book or reserve your place. Sophie, thanks for coming on the podcast.
It's a pleasure.
It's been such a pleasure. I've just realised I've not got any shoes on.
I feel like I shouldn't have any on. You look cool.
Let's ground.
Yeah.
So we've met at the Rise of the Divine Feminine. You're chef goddess.
Oh, give over.
Conscious eating. Honestly, it's been such an amazing experience putting that together, isn't it? And
it was an amazing experience for me to be able to do. It was unreal.
Yeah, and so much more to look forward to.
Yeah, definitely.
The food was delicious.
Oh,
and just to be able to see your beautiful face every day as well, and have you join in with us.
Definitely didn't look like this though.
Yes, you did.
Stuff.
You always look gorgeous.
Oh, bless you.
Could bloody make a bin bag look
I don't
amazing.
think so.
So let's start from the beginning, because you've got an incredible story to tell, and the reason why you actually are so knowledgeable about food and create such wonderful recipes for us all to be able to have on the retreat. And start from the beginning and the reasons for it.
Okay. Well, hopefully looking at me, you wouldn't know what's gone on.
No.
But I've had a rough few years, let's say, and it sort of crescendoed into this.
Crescendo. No, there's the word of the day.
It is. Into being really poorly. So my childhood was picturesque. My parents are wonderful. My brother's wonderful. I had a wonderful upbringing. And then my adult life seemed to be the balance of all that happiness. And when I left home, although I thought I was happy, obviously I ended up being in a relationship that obviously wasn't really for me. However, I do have 2 little girls that have come from it.
And how old were you when you left home?
22, and I had Olivia when I was 23.
Okay.
So it was all quite quick.
Yeah.
But there was a lot of stress around it. And after having my second child, I became poorly, but couldn't really put my finger on what it was. I just felt ill all the time.
Okay.
So tired and my doctor once said to me, Sophie, do you feel like you've plugged your phone into the socket at night, but you've woke up and it's no charge on it? Is that how you feel? And that's exactly how I felt. Like I'd gone to sleep to recharge, but I woke up and there was nothing there still. Right. But I had 2 babies to deal with because they're really close in age. So I had loads of tests and blood tests and Mayo Clinic in Salford, back to Preston, like loads of stuff, and nothing was ever found. They just sort of labelled me as chronic fatigue, which has a bit of like a negative
stigma.
To it, because I think people just think it's like this
in your head.
Yeah, and it's this plaster that they just put over people that are just not feeling very well. But for me, there was something underlying that they'd not found. And then in 2018, so this is like 5 years on, my littlest was 5.
So you'd just been dealing with this.
Yeah.
And had it got worse, or is it just sort of like plateau?
So there was like moments where it would be a lot worse than other times, but I know now that was because of what I was eating or the situation I was in, and it was my body showing that something like you're stressed out, it's not right.
Yeah, just actually been talking about the podcast with Lilani about how stressed she was doing Housewives and how your body reacts to your environment. It is so true, isn't
and
it?
we're not taught to listen to it.
No.
You're not taught to listen to yourself, and it's crazy because we all know how to like work our phones or post on Instagram, or we know the inside out of doing that on our phone, but you don't know yourself. Like you don't know how your own body works. So there was like ups and downs of it, and I sort of got a grasp on the fatigue by eating clean, which I thought was making me healthier. So that would be like cutting out processed foods, not eating gluten, trying to limit dairy. My youngest is allergic to dairy, so we didn't really have it in the house. But
it's in so much as well, isn't it?
Yeah, so
Milk
much stuff.
is in so many things.
Yeah, so she'd get really bad eczema on the back of her knees, and then I cut out dairy and it went.
Wow.
But having something that's topical, that's on your skin, like a skin issue, is like the body's last sign of showing you something internal's not right.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so that was obviously her digestion, but her body was screaming, stop it, by showing this eczema. And I used to teach people how to clean cook, like I ran workshops and people come and I'd teach them different recipes and stuff of how to cook. And that's how I met my partner, Sheldon. He's a PT and he'd send his clients and I'd teach them how to cook better and they'd get better results.
Yeah.
So
your current partner?
Yeah.
Not the one that
No, not the
fathered
girl's
children.
dad. No.
Yeah.
So, I thought I was like on the road to recovery. And then...
So you felt better by eating clean, did you?
Yeah. So cutting out processed food was like the first step that I took, and exercising more.
Yeah.
And then in March 2018, I got rushed into hospital. And after like 24 hours of
what was the symptoms that you experienced?
I had really acute abdominal pain up here. And during the day, I'd met a friend at a cafe and I'd had some carrot cake and it wasn't gluten-free.
No.
So I woke up in the middle of the night with this pain. I was like, oh, for God's sake, like the one time I let myself just have a treat and I've got bloody stomach ache. And then when I woke up with this, weirdly, my littlest fell out of bed in the room next door to me. So I had to get up and put her back in bed. And then my eldest one, I'd woken up to it. So I was single. Well, I was with Sheldon, but I was living on my own.
Yeah. How old were the kids at this point?
So Sophia was 5 and Olivia will have been 7.
Okay. So you put her back to bed?
Yeah, but Olivia ended up getting in bed with me like they do.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, God, this isn't going away. It's not wind. It's not, because I need to go to the loo. It's just not what I've ever felt before. So I ended up ringing 111. And whilst I was on the phone, they were like, Sophie, just to let you know, we've sent an ambulance for you. And I panicked, like, you can't do that. I've got 2 children. I'm on my own. There's no one else to come and look after them. My parents live in the Lake District. Like, what? You can't do that. No, like, don't worry, Sophie. We'll
Like best mate on the ambulance.
Best mate, yeah.
111.
We'll scoop them up and take them with you if you need to go. So I immediately rang my parents.
So is this because you had just explained that you were in excruciating pain?
And where it was.
Yeah.
Yes. I don't think that is the response you'd get right now, though.
No, sadly.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
it would be.
Had this happened to me now, who knows whether
Yeah.
I'd still be here.
Wow.
Yes, I then rang my parents and my mum came down and she was like 20 minutes after the ambulance arrived. So she stayed and I went off and I got taken to Royal Preston. They were obviously very busy. It was a Wednesday morning, I think. And I got there at 5:30 in the morning and I got left on a bed in a corridor with some gas and air till 9:30, just on my own. And then not been seen to, nothing, just left in the corridor.
Wow. And you still had this pain.
Horrendous pain. They'd given me some morphine in the ambulance, but and at this point I was led down. So the pain, although it was absolutely horrendous, wasn't as bad until I got into the ward, like the non-surgical ward, and they sat me up and they wouldn't let me lie down. Now, they obviously didn't know what was there, but there was a big tumour and I was sat up, so I was squashing it. So I was like crying to them, please let me lie down. I can't sit up. It's horrible. Anyway, they were going to send me home with gastritis. And my mum was like, you can't send her home. You know, like being a mum, unless it's really bad, you don't complain about it. You just have to get on, don't you?
Yeah.
So she knew that I wasn't just messing about. It was something really bad.
So how did they get to the diagnosis of gastro without actually examining you fully with even though they'd sent an ambulance because you explained where it was and your symptoms and stuff. So they were that worried to send an ambulance for you.
Yeah.
But then to leave you for the hours and hours
Yeah.
in a corridor.
I have no idea. I'd not had a scan at that point. They'd just been giving me morphine, so I was throwing up, but it does make you sick.
Yeah.
So, and then they just assumed that she's got gastritis, so I'll send her home. So my mum was like, over my dead body, you're sending her home. And they ended up keeping me in.
Again, mother's intuition.
I know, yeah.
Yeah.
And then it took 24 hours for them to come with a ultrasound. And they started on my right side because they were looking for gallstones, because they assumed that possibly what was causing the pain. And I didn't have any of them. And she was sort of moving the ultrasound over my body. And both the nurse and the sonographer's faces dropped. And they like looked at each other and, you know, we need to get her straight to a CT. And I was, please tell me what you've just seen, because it's obviously very worrying. You've got a large mass and it's attached to your spleen. We need to get you straight for a CT. So off I went. And then the results came back and all my family were called. And you've got a huge tumour and it's sort of engulfing the whole of the spleen and 2/3 of your pancreas. And at the time on the CT, they measured it as 10 centimetres wide.
Wow.
So, I mean, I didn't really digest the information, I don't think, that they'd given me. I could see that it wasn't good information because my mum and my dad was in bits crying. My brother's really, was a forensic scientist, so he sort of takes information and like digests it. So I could see he was like calculating what was going to happen and how long I'd have and, like in his head. Shell was really positive all the time about it. And I think that having that helped me not digest it as completely negative.
Yeah.
They didn't use the big C at that time. They said it was a cyst, so they didn't call it cancer at that time.
Okay. Do you think that was done purposely or they just didn't know?
Perhaps, and for them to say it was cancer before they'd removed it and tested it.
Yeah.
I mean, they could have got sued for it, couldn't they, really, if
Well,
they told me
yeah.
I'd...
I think once people bring that word up, like you say, it's like...
Yes.
It's so much scarier, isn't it?
Yeah. And I think that's what happens in a lot of people. As soon as they get told that they've got cancer, they become it.
Yeah. And also when they get told they've got so long left, and I totally disagree with the fact that anyone should put a time limit on anyone's life, whether you've been to medical school and learn, nobody can tell you.
No, and everybody's different.
Yeah, and you could give up. People,
they
if
do,
you've not got the
that's-
right mentality, you give up, wouldn't you?
I absolutely truly believe that. And yeah, you have to try not to become cancer. That's really difficult, but I think I dealt with that by, I sort of was looking at someone else who was having it, going through it, and it wasn't me. Like, I was trying to help this other person. That sounds really
That's
weird.
interesting. No,
But
it doesn't actually.
It wasn't me that was doing it.
Yeah, but almost like your soul detached from the vessel that you'd been given to sort of give back that
Help
the
it.
light and the
Yeah,
the healing to it, I suppose. Yeah,
Yeah,
you are a bloody
definitely.
angel.
I don't know about that. Yeah, so then I got rushed to Blackburn Hospital where the pancreatic specialist is, and I spent 9 weeks there.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah.
So they removed it.
Yeah, but I'd probably do this differently knowing what I know now.
Even because of the severity of it, though, would you have the option to choose? Would you still have got it removed?
Well, I never got given the option not to.
Right, I see.
But because they were removing my spleen, they wanted to immunise me against everything you'd have as a child because your spleen holds your immune system.
Okay.
And I was about to not have one. And at that point,
That's something else I didn't know.
Yeah, at that point, I'd not done the research, or Sheldon had not done the research, or the knowledge that I have now. And I would have said no to that.
Okay.
But I didn't at the time. Now, luckily, I've not really had any side effects from those immunisations. But because I had to have that first, it took 2 weeks for them to get into my system. So I had to wait 2 weeks with it being monitored, the tumour, to have it all removed. And so I was in hospital 4 weeks before my operation. I got sent home for about 5 days before my op to spend some time with my children and sleep in my own bed and eat because I'd lost weight beforehand. They wanted me to put weight on really because I was going through such a big operation. And because the final result of it, they didn't really know. So I needed to spend time with the girls.
What do you mean by that? Whether you were going to pull through?
Yeah, because it was such a big op. I was having organs removed and they didn't really know what it was they were dealing with either.
God, how frightening.
Yeah, and they could see on the scan that it had, this tumour had sort of it's sort of become its own organ. It had a blood system, everything.
Oh my gosh.
And when they were telling me this, I sort of disowned from my head down, disowned myself a little bit. I didn't want to think it was like some weird alien was inside me that shouldn't be there when you know. Yeah.
Didn't you say something about you can get these cysts removed and they can have teeth in them?
That wasn't me.
No, it's somebody else. A friend of mine's got a fibroid.
Oh my God.
And they said apparently you can remove the fibroid and it can actually have hair and teeth in it.
Oh my God.
But not like it's something to do with whatever is in it. But yeah, that was something
I didn't
else.
even know that. I will definitely look up that though. Oh my God, that's crazy. Yes, so, and then the operation day came and I think I was under for 10 hours. So it was all done through keyhole, but because by the time they got in there, the tumour had grown to 15 centimetres. So imagine
how
a
many
small
weeks?
ruler. So that was,
when you was
from the
diagnosed?
first scan was 4 weeks to my op. So it was growing and that's quite a rapid, and they didn't know when they went in whether it was attached to my stomach as well. And on my actual operation notes, it said that I had some of my stomach removed, but nobody's ever said that to my face. So
What?
who knows? Who knows?
Oh
whether
my
that
God.
happened. Maybe I should actually ask whether that happened. But yeah, so, and the surgeon actually took a picture of it so I could see. Oh God. Anyway, Sheldon named it, but I can't remember what he called it. And then I was meant to spend one night on ICU, but I didn't. I ended up being there for 4 days because I was really poorly when I came out, and I started vomiting 3 litres of green bile, which you actually make daily, and it goes down with your food to help digest your food. It's got all the enzymes in it and everything. It digests all your food. Wow. But because it had nowhere to go and they didn't know why, it just came out the only way it could. Wow. So they kept me on ICU. And after 4 days, they took me to the ward, and it was still happening. And a lot of the nurses were lovely, but there's always one that's has no bedside manner.
Yeah. It's like when you have a baby though as well. There's always like a awful matron midwife that's like no nonsense, like, come on. That's like, no, probably not got any kids herself as well. Yeah.
No compassion.
Yeah.
Well, I think it was sort of 10 nights in, and this was still happening. Like people come and visit me, and she'll be like, "You're going green, Sophie, okay?" I'm like, "No, just get the bucket, just get it," and it would just come out whenever it wanted. And I'd not managed to eat. They wouldn't let me eat anything because of it. And I had so I was on a saline drip, obviously. I mean, I had tubes coming out of everywhere, and I had massive hose pipes coming out of my belly that were like that thick.
Oh my God.
To drain the fluid off.
So much for the keyhole.
Yeah, I know. So I've now got 5 belly buttons and a wiggly line that goes down here. This one nurse happened to be the one that ended up putting the NG tube down my nose, and I think she really enjoyed the fact that it was a horrible thing to do. So I then ended up having a tube out my nose with a bag on the end. So instead of me vomiting, it would drain into this bag. So, and it would come when it wanted, and it would just fill up.
Did you feel that then?
Yeah, you could sort of feel it. But at first...
Did you not feel like you've got water up your nose?
Feeling of it being in here, it was horrendous, that. And it makes it all dry. So you have a really sore throat, because it goes down your nose and it goes down the back of your throat into your stomach.
Did you not feel like you were choking?
Yeah, so at first I was being sick still, but then my body wouldn't give up on the retching because of that dangling down, because it was trying to get it out.
Oh, God.
It was honestly just horrendous. And then it got to 14 days, and my bowels had not moved, and this was still happening to me, that I had to have another emergency surgery. Throughout this though, they had tried to do different things, like put I can't remember what it's called, but they put something into your they had to put it down the tube into my stomach, which then would go through your bowel and light up on the x-ray. So the idea is they'd take it, and then every hour they'd take an x-ray of my stomach and see how far this fluid had gone, to see where it was stopping and coming back.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, it didn't really work because it didn't get very far and it all came back up. So I had to have an exploratory operation where they literally just sort of had to pull my whole bowel out and sift through it to see what was happening.
Oh, wow.
God. But they said to my mum, it's just going to be an investigation. I was on the emergency list for that Monday, and I went down quite late though. I think it was about 7:00, and she just was told it would just be a quick. Anyway, I ended up being under for another sort of 6-7 hours. She thought I died, bless her. And I obviously hadn't. And I came out of it, and they'd had to chop some of my small bowel away because it had died. So it had completely shut.
Oh, wow.
And then to sew it back together, instead of sewing 2 ends together, they sew it together like that and create a slit in the middle. So the stuff comes round and then down the slit and then back that way, instead of being joined like that.
I see.
So you've got quite a big bit of scar tissue then in your bowel, and your bowel opens, sort of dilates, obviously, for food to go through it, but where it's got scar tissue, it can't. So that created me then a further problem, that stuff gets stuck at my scar tissue.
Still now?
Yes, that is my problem now, really.
Did you need further operation to sort that?
So when I came out of hospital, I then had summer, sort of thinking that I was all right. And then I went back into hospital in the September because I'd created another area where my bowel was dying. So I was in pain again, and food was getting stuck and couldn't come, and I was thrown up, and it was all happening again. But my surgeon I think things happen for a reason, and my surgeon was flying to Portugal the next day and didn't want to operate on me that day because he wouldn't be there for a week. So I said to him, well, I want to go home. I'm not staying. And I want to manage it myself and see what I can do this time. Yeah. And then the year on from that, I get scanned every 6 months because I've had such a big tumour I didn't know was there. And then the year after, they scanned me and I'd got rid of the stricture where it was closing, wasn't to be seen. So what they told me would never open, I actually got rid of.
Really?
Yeah, through eating well and being aware of what toxic things are going into my body.
Yeah.
Yeah, and fasting, that was a huge bit as well of it. So 1 year on from being in hospital, I also got told at my appointment that my cancer had spread to the liver. I say my cancer, I hate saying that, it's not mine.
Yes.
Don't own it.
Yeah. Yeah.
The cancer had spread to my liver, and I got shown the CT and all this black area on my liver, and I got told, oh, we can burn it out, we can chop it out, there's different things we can do. I'm so sorry, Sophie, you're so young to go through this all again. And went away thinking, oh my God, like pancreatic cancer is one of the top ones, like only 95% of people die from it. And then liver's up there as well, like these are really bad.
Yeah.
Why is this happening to me? Sheldon was like, Sophie, you have to just go completely alkaline with your food. We got strips to test our urine to make sure like I was on the alkaline scale.
Yeah.
Only ate alkaline food, and then about 2 days into it, before I was having an MRI, so they could assess what they were going to do with this next tumour in my liver. She was like, just fast, just see what you can do, just fast till your scan. So I had 10 days till my scan, so I fasted.
So when you say fasted,
Yeah.
how many hours do you fast for before you actually eat?
So I didn't eat, nothing solid went
Nothing?
in. No, nothing.
So it's just juice?
Yes, so I'd have about 2 juices a day of alkaline veg. So
Which is?
like cucumbers. I definitely should have looked at the alkaline list before I started this. But most green vegetables.
Yeah.
So it doesn't taste great. I remember fennel being on there and that making it sort of taste like it tasted of something and not just pond.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
very
I like
aniseedy,
fennel.
yeah.
It's an acquired taste though, isn't it? Not
Yeah,
everyone
it's
does.
aniseedy, isn't
Yeah.
it? Dark berries are on there though, so my like sort of treat was not to juice them, but to blend them so that they were so smooth that there was nothing in it. And if you leave dark berries, they set as a bit of a jelly because of like, you know, the inside of a blueberry.
Yeah.
Sets like that. So like every third day I'd have this little like
Jelly thing.
pretend jelly, yeah. And then I would enema as well, but like really go for it. So like 4 times a day, coffee enema. So I literally
Never
couldn't
had
leave
one
the
of those.
house. So beneficial. I probably do about 3 a week now.
Really?
Not always with coffee in, but
Is it
distilled
only
water.
if you have problems though, like you get blocked up? Is that the reason why you would do that?
Yeah, but they get rid of all toxin in the gut as well.
Okay.
And the raw coffee, so it's not like Starbucks coffee. It's
Strong.
green and it's before it's been roasted and
Okay.
it doesn't smell
Tastes
like
like
coffee.
shit.
And yeah, it's just not. It's not coffee. You wouldn't drink it. It just goes
Yeah.
at your bum.
Okay, yeah.
So that cleanses your liver as well.
All right. So even if you go regular, it's still beneficial
Yeah.
for you to do.
Yeah, definitely.
Maybe I should try it.
Yeah. It's
not
worth
pleasant.
a try. Definitely not. And the first experience is hilarious, but it's definitely
Definitely
worth
don't want to be
it.
doing it shopping in Tesco.
No, it's for a day at home near a toilet. But it would literally blow your mind what comes out of it.
Oh, lovely.
Honestly, it's incredible. What a chat. I think it's so funny how we all get embarrassed about talking about poo, but everybody does
I
it.
know. And, you know, a lot of... some boys actually get really turned off girls when they talk about poo.
Yeah.
You know, one of Wes's friends. I'm not going to name him, but he literally is like, I'm sure he thinks that girls don't actually poo.
Oh my goodness,
Yeah.
you'd hate me.
We do poo. We're just human.
Yes, we are. And you have to. My God, when I didn't, I was so ill. So you have to.
Exactly.
But-
or girls that don't fart in front of their husbands of years.
Oh, my
and
couldn't cope with
but
that.
that makes you poorly because you're holding
and
it
your
in.
stomach gets so bloated, and then it all accumulates into one bubble. It's just not good.
I remember doing gymnastics when I was younger and like holding my pumps in.
Really?
Pumps. I did, especially when you're like, obviously when you're being coached and you're being like thrown around and stuff, don't be trumping in people's faces. I had a bellyache after. Yeah.
Trap wind is the worst.
Just let it go, ladies. Let it go.
Oh my God. It's my
And
song.
Sophie is actually Elsa. She's
my God.
available for parties, bar
She's
mitzvahs,
definitely
like
retired.
Christmas. Yeah. Go on, give us a song.
Oh no, I knew you were going to do this in the car. I was like, should I warm up? No, it's not for now.
Oh, maybe we can end on that.
Maybe. So yeah, definitely enema. Like
Okay.
I can't explain to you how beneficial that is, especially for me. Like trap wind, if you've got trap wind and you literally are in so much pain it won't come out, that will just get rid of it.
Wow.
I mean, it's not going to be a pleasant experience in the bathroom, but at least you're not in pain anymore. So yeah, I can't even remember how we got into that.
Because you were saying what the cancer in the liver had come back and you were fasting.
Yeah. So then on the 11th day, my partner Sheldon, he was in a casting in Manchester and I was sat in the waiting room waiting for him, and I could see that my surgeon was ringing, and I'd only had the scan the day before and it was bank holiday weekend. So, oh my God, this is going to be horrendous. Why is he ringing me? Like, it must be bad news. And I answered it. He was like, Sophie, I just want to let you know that I've just had a look at your MRI and your liver's clear. Wow. But he didn't have me in for an appointment to explain it, and well, he couldn't explain it. He was about to chop it out. Whatever. He was sat there waiting to see what medical way he was going to get rid of this for me.
Yeah. So actually, how long before had you had the diagnosis of it until you were until they did the scan?
It was 2 weeks from my appointment to my scan, but I'd fasted for 10 days, so I must have had 4 days of alkaline eating from my appointment, and then I fasted for 10 days, and on the 11th day he told me it had gone.
So let me get this straight. You were diagnosed with cancer of the liver.
He told me it had spread to my liver, yeah.
And then after 10 days
Yeah.
of fasting, eating clean, juicing,
Yeah.
it had
And
disappeared.
it had gone.
That is mind-blowing.
Yeah.
That is mind-blowing. Does anyone else wouldn't have been given the advice to fast?
Nope.
Or eat clean or do any of the things that you did. You just did that off your own back.
Yep.
But the doctors and surgeons should be saying that. This is the best chance of, this is the advice that they should be telling patients. They would have gone back and then they would just chop
job
that.
though.
Yeah, this is
why.
it's the industry, isn't it? Yeah.
Even
And it's not detriment to doctors because
Not at all.
It's all they've been conditioned to diagnose and do the operation, not give the advice in between. Well, let's look at your lifestyle.
Yeah.
What can you change? What can you improve on?
Yeah.
How can you, what are you eating?
Yeah.
Are you being kind to yourself? What's your actual circumstances in your life?
they don't look at any of that.
They're not, but in a sense, are they really asked?
Probably not. Even my bowel surgeon. So I was ready. I have a few different specialists. One for my pancreas, one for my bowel, one for my kidneys.
So these are all different surgeons.
And they don't talk to each other.
Yeah, the connection. Yeah.
And my bowel
Which is
surgeon
just
did say to me, Sophie, I'm just a plumber. Like I just take bits out and put them back together. I don't do the back work for it.
Wow.
And when I got, so I'd spent 9 weeks in hospital the first time round, and I got given the worst nutrition sheet possible when I left, and nobody to sort of check up, or nobody tells you that you are about to go cold turkey on morphine and what it will do to you. It was horrendous.
Wow.
Couldn't sleep, literally pouring with sweat. and not really knowing what's like why, and then not having those painkillers either, which are not great, but they do have a purpose at times. Like I just had major organ surgery, so it was obviously very painful.
Yeah.
But coming off it was something else, like just horrendous.
Wow.
And I'd literally been laid in a bed, so I'd wasted away. I had no muscle on my legs. They were literally just like these little bones. And I couldn't walk up the stairs when I first got into my house, because I'd never done it for 9 weeks. I'd just been laid down. And nobody tells you that you sort of need you need physiotherapy after it.
Of course.
But nobody tells you any of this.
No.
But the diet sheet was unreal.
What kind of stuff was on it?
So I've just been in and had the majority of my pancreas removed, which produces the enzymes that produces insulin, so stops you from being diabetic. Oh,
What's that? Is that your
actually,
phone?
it might have been my watch. Oh, it's because I talked about diabetes. Sorry about that.
At least you know it works.
Yeah, so I was told when I come out of my operation that I would be diabetic, but I never read as diabetic. And whilst in the hospital, they didn't feed me. Shell brought my food in because there was nothing. You know, when they come around with the menu, there's nothing for a vegan. And I literally got given...
How bad is that?
It's really bad. I got given, you know, those frozen just like chopped carrots, peas and sweet corn, and it comes in a bag.
Yeah.
That's what came on the plate when I asked for something vegan.
Stop.
Yeah. So
Wow.
that ended.
It's what do they say? It's not a hospital. It's not healthcare. It's sick care.
Yeah, definitely.
Exactly what it is, to keep you sick, so you
Yeah.
keep going back.
100%. That there was more effort gone into baking the cakes than there is like making good healthy food that would make people well.
Yeah.
And all I could do was observe it, because I wasn't allowed to eat anything. I was nil by mouth for pretty much the whole time I was there after my ops. And I was on a ward with 3 other women, which kept changing. I never went home. They ended up putting me in my own room because I was so ill. And it sort of was bringing me down a little bit when I was trying to be positive about never having a home date. But they just kept coming and going, and I'm just like sat there watching the next one come and then leave before me. And then, but the trolley of sweets and cakes and the brew stuff was unreal.
Oh,
Like,
wow.
you just honestly, it literally blows my mind. But someone needs to step in and take hold of that.
Yeah, definitely.
But like
it's
you
like when
said-
Jamie Oliver did the school dinners.
Schools. Someone needs to do the
Yeah,
hospitals.
yeah.
I would try and take that on, but I feel like it's a massive beast.
It is a massive beast, yeah.
And
I'm sure
a beast
it
they
is.
perhaps don't want you to
No.
do.
Well, we're just chatting as well. Again, going back to the podcast with Lilani about the hospitals, like not being able to see, like you're saying about diagnosing something. You can't really get that one-to-one
No.
routine
Nope.
appointment now because they don't want to see you, and then
No.
people are being misdiagnosed. And
Yep.
yeah, so
I've had one face-to-face in the last 2 years.
wow.
Yeah.
And what you went through.
And I've been obviously been through something horrendous.
Yeah.
But then people are being diagnosed now, and I've never had that. Just
Yeah.
mind-blowing. But this diet sheet had on it, it was like they were more concerned about the weight I'd lost. So it said, eat suck boiled sweets throughout the day. So I've just been told that I'm meant to be diabetic. Suck boiled sweets throughout the day. Pancreas also produces enzymes to break down fat. So have cream in all of your drinks, hot drinks, cream and sugar in all of your hot drinks, cakes, all these like high calorie, high sugar foods. It was all on this. Don't have, because I had a bowel condition, don't have fresh fruit and vegetables that have got skins on because it's going to get stuck. Don't eat nuts, don't eat seeds, but have tinned fruit that's in syrup.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, or just
shocking.
don't eat, like tin soup. So the actual process of tinning food, it contains something that stops you digesting nutrients anyway. So you're not getting anything from a tin of food. You are not getting anything. Not that
Any tin.
any tin.
Wow.
Yeah. So yeah, it was pretty mind blowing. And then I get a phone calls from the nutrition department to see how I was getting on. In fact, my last
put them
one,
in the place.
Well, the last one said to me, "I feel like you might have a really low iron intake," without looking at any bloods. Just because I don't eat meat, would you consider eating meat again?
Oh my God.
I
want to.
no.
I've
And actually, the reason I don't eat meat is because it gets stuck in my bowel. So it's not because of ethical reasons, but I've been told that is going to get stuck. And when I last ate it, it did, and I was in hospital, so I don't touch it anymore. But then the nutritionist saying to me, "Do you want to eat a bit of steak, Sophie, because your iron's low?"
But can you imagine how many people have similar or same condition of what you have, but are totally oblivious to, or not able to critical think for themselves and able to take on board, like, actually, I'm going to do my own research and look at what will make me better and heal my body for me.
Yeah.
That just blindly trust in what they're being given and what they're being told.
Yeah.
And is making them sicker and sicker.
Yeah, I feel like you've just summed up the whole last 2 years, though.
Yeah.
That is like everyone is being blindly told what they should be doing for their own health.
Exactly.
And not looking at
accepting
themselves.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
100%. So did you have Sophie's Kitchen? You were doing meal prep. Did you create that from your learning about food and healthy eating yourself?
So Sophie's Kitchen started just before I went into hospital.
Right.
So basically, a really good friend of mine, was quite overweight and she wanted to lose weight, but she said to me, "Oh, Sophie, I think I'm going to go and have a gastric band." And I was like, "Please don't do that."
What's your view on that? Why is that so bad?
Well, for her, our group of friends, we'd go out for a meal every now and then to socialise, or we'd go for a coffee or whatever, and she'd be sat there with an espresso cup of soup because that's all she'd be able to have if she went through with that process. Whereas I'm going to sound horrible by saying I feel like that's a lazy option. You can get rid of that, and a lot of it is inflammation in the body. So if you looked at how inflamed you were and dealt with the inflammation, the weight drops off you anyway. Mm-hmm. So I just said to her, "Let me cook your food for 3 weeks and we'll see how much we can get off you before you do it." Wow. So I did. I told her what to have for her breakfast. I cooked her lunch, her dinner, and gave her some snacks. I made her drink more water, which then it made her go to the toilet more, which was then adding steps onto her day that she didn't even realise because her office was upstairs and the toilet was downstairs, and made her go for like a lap on her lunch around the building. And she ended up losing over a stone in 3 weeks. And then she said to me, "Sophie, will you do it for 3 months?"
Wow.
So, and she's a graphic designer, so she was talking to a lot of people, and you could see this like weight dropping off her. So before I knew it, I had 14 clients, and I was doing it from my kitchen at home whilst looking after 2 children on my own and having a job for Age Concern, the charity. So I was like spinning all these plates, and I just handed my notice in on the Monday, went into hospital on the Tuesday. And my notice ran out whilst I was in hospital, and I was unemployed and had no kitchen to be cooking because I couldn't do it.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so I wasn't in a great financial place when I went into hospital either. But so I didn't. That was off the back of as well. So I'm quite confident in cooking because I was teaching people how to cook.
Yeah. Where did you learn that then?
So that's just from my mum.
Oh right, your mum's a good cook.
Yeah, she used to teach home economics before I arrived, like before I was here, but she always cooked everything from scratch. We never had anything processed at home. I mean, a takeaway was something that like was never had. So it was just sort of her influence really. And my teacher, one of my favourite teachers at school was my cooking teacher. So I just think I just enjoyed doing it. I think just having that bit of confidence as well about flavour and what goes with what. So I've not been to like culinary school or anything like that. It's just
I do think
inside.
I think it's a skill, cooking.
Yeah.
I know it can be learnt.
Yeah.
But I think I just love to have that intuition of like, Or have the confidence, I suppose.
I think that's what
the
it is,
confidence,
yeah.
like with anything, isn't it? Just
Yeah.
be able to I am all right at cooking when I put my mind to it. And I've been doing a few soups from your inspiration from the retreat. I've been doing and I do like put bits in to like taste and stuff. I don't really know
Yeah.
if I'm doing the right thing, and I do enjoy it. I just can't be bothered with the tidying up.
Yeah.
It's like just need a washer upper at the end.
Yeah, no, definitely. I'm literally, I think creative people are quite messy though.
Yeah.
It's part of being really creative.
Yeah.
That's my excuse
Yeah.
anyway.
I'll take that as well then.
But yeah, just love, and I literally just throw stuff in the pan and hope for the best, and it usually tastes quite good. But that is my downfall, is not writing stuff down.
Yeah.
I have started to put together a recipe book.
Amazing.
And I have a little Sophie Baines landing page.
Yeah.
So things will come of it.
What is that on have you got a website?
Yeah.
No, you've got your Instagram where you look absolutely incredible. Sophie's a model as well. Check out her page.
My
Jaw-dropping images of her.
My mum's like, Sophie, you can't put that out.
Can we grab one up? Can we get one up?
Oh, no. Sophie _ Baines _
Let's get some nakedness in here.
Oh, my God.
It's gorgeous.
But this is how you'll look if you eat like...
Yeah.
Look at that last one. That's really... Yeah, but it says the girl who can't actually eat sugar.
Ironic.
Yeah.
Look
But I need
at
to
them.
get you in one of these.
Yeah. If you make me look like that, I'm there. So you said before that you wouldn't you would have done things differently. So you wouldn't have had your spleen removed and.
I had to have my spleen removed. I think.
Do you mean like you'd go down the route of more of an would you have been able to heal from?
I would have tried.
Yeah.
I think I would have tried.
Okay.
They'd perhaps have had to monitor it closely.
But if you can, the fact that you did that in 10 days just shows how powerful
Yeah.
we are.
I have to
your body
say
is.
that I couldn't have done that without support and without Sheldon's knowledge. So he's the researcher.
Okay.
I am the guinea pig. Yeah. That's just how it works. And I think now, where I'm at right now, I've sort of found my way in it. So I know what works for me. And I don't... So obviously I've been really strict, like only eating alkaline food, fasted. I try and do a fast anyway.
Yeah.
A good 3-day fast, like once every sort of 2-3 months, just to reset.
Yeah. I did notice you just ate some bread before because I was quite shocked.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have thought that you would have even ate bread.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because it wasn't gluten-free or anything, was it?
No, and I don't really bother about being gluten-free.
Right.
Bread is
Would
probably the only processed thing I would eat.
Right. Would you have a reaction now because you've ate that?
No, because so the guidance on a bowel stricture is to basically they tell you to eat like Wotsits, things like that, things that will just
disintegrate.
Yeah, in you, and bread is quite soft to go through like that. Whereas nuts and seeds and things that I actually do eat, they don't break down into like just mush. They're still
Solid,
bitty and they form like a protein ball would at the blockage. So it'll all just stick together.
Yeah.
And so although I do eat nuts and seeds and things like that, I don't really eat many beans because I end up getting really blocked up with that. I'll have to space them out so they're not, I don't eat like a massive nuts or like crunchy peanut butter. I wouldn't have that all over something. It would have to be smooth. So it's, do you know? So it doesn't. I'm really aware of what I can and can't eat.
Yeah.
And as long as throughout the day the majority of it is smooth, I don't have to all be like baby food. Like for tea tonight, I'll probably eat a coconut curry that Sheldon's hopefully made by the time I get home, and I'll have rice with it.
My comfort tea.
Yeah, of course. So yeah, I'm just really aware of what I can and can't do, and then. Like it's just been Christmas, for instance, so I haven't stopped myself from having a bit of dark chocolate if I wanted it, or do you know?
Yeah.
And occasionally I do like coffee, even though I know I shouldn't drink it. But when you drink coffee, it's so toxic that your body wants to get rid of everything that's in
Oh,
it.
really?
And that's what makes you go to the toilet.
Oh, really? I do drink coffee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it
Only like
literally...
really one a day, two.
Yeah, I probably one a day. But also can't sleep if I cut caffeine out for 8 years, and now I feel like I'm really sensitive to it. But so yeah, when you drink coffee, it's so toxic, it gets rid of everything. But I sometimes need that because I get so blocked up. So
Yeah.
but it does not, it knocks years off your life, caffeine.
Really?
Coffee, yeah.
I need to stop
It's
drinking
really
it then. Oh, Lord.
I know, but I don't want like people to think that eating really healthy is one, hard work, or two, like stopping you from eating the things that you enjoy.
Yeah,
there are
because
ways
it's about
around it.
balance. Yeah, that's why we want your
definitely.
recipe book.
Yeah.
Can you give any quick tips of like alternative foods? You know, like if people have got a really sweet tooth, or they, I don't know, like.
I have a sweet tooth. That's really difficult to deal with when you've on the borderline of getting diabetes and not. So
have you reversed the diabetes now?
I never got told I had it, but I got told I would have it.
Oh, right,
and
I
I've
see.
never read up as it, but I keep on top of it. Like I control what sugar I take in, and make sure it's not processed. Like don't sit there eating wine gums or whatever. You know, that's just not gonna do me any favors. It's not gonna do anyone any favors.
No.
But chocolate is my weakness.
Yeah.
In all shapes and sizes.
Me. So dark chocolate is obviously the best option.
Yeah. Well, that's got antioxidants in it, so you're going to get something from it. Whereas having a bar of, I was talking
Dairy milk.
you're just not going to get anything from that, and it's inflammatory because it's dairy and all sorts of stuff. So
I actually went to a retreat and I didn't have chocolate for a week, and then on the way home I went and bought some 12 bites, and when I tasted them, I could actually taste the chemicals in them.
really,
In the chocolate, and I like spat it out, couldn't eat it. And about 2 weeks later, I ended up going back on it because like obviously you
got back that taste.
Yeah.
But that isn't you. That's the fascinating thing about fasting is you learn what your body needs, and you stop the habits. So we have a habit of it getting to 12 o'clock and we're like, oh, it's lunchtime.
Yeah.
And this is like regimented in us from school. You have your breakfast first, then you've got a lunchtime, then you might have a break where you have a snack, and you go home and have tea. And like these times, they're not actually when your body needs food, but we're all regimented to be like that.
Yeah.
And when you fast, although it's difficult, the first 3 days are really hard because you're breaking those habits, those cycles. Your body starts telling you what it wants, and you start craving like healthier things. And
It's like when you're pregnant.
Yeah.
And your body craves weird things, actually.
Yeah.
It can do, can't it? I didn't actually get any cravings. I was a bit...
did you not?
Yeah, I was a bit gutted. I was like, I really wanted to like sit and eat coal or something.
Mine was weird. I wanted to, I was a visual merchandiser at the time, and the smell of bleach was all I wanted to
God,
sniff.
you didn't drink any bleach.
No, I
did
didn't
you?
actually drink it.
My mum actually loved the smell of the petrol fumes, like when she was pregnant.
And
So she did
that's
that.
actually really bad, though.
Yeah.
So sniffing bleach, but I'd like...
So why wonder why your
I
body was
don't know.
craving?
It was that, and then I had this major thirst, which now looking back, it was probably telling me that I had something wrong with my pancreas, because when you are diabetic, you are really thirsty.
yeah.
But I drink 5 1.5 to 2 litre bottles of fizzy water a day. I'd literally drowning myself in water every day, especially when I was pregnant with the second one, which I had pain where my pancreas is, but they just told me it was the way the baby was lying.
Wow.
But it was obviously that.
Yeah.
Yeah, crazy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, so yeah, I am very excited. Well, one about the retreats we've got coming up,
Yes.
because I can get to sample all your delicious food again.
I'll have time to sort out the menu properly this time.
It was amazing.
Yeah, but
Everyone
it was just about feeding you. It wasn't about particularly teaching you about
Yeah, so
the
we're going
food.
to, you're actually going to do more
Yeah.
of that, because it was a bit last minute, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
just a
This
little
one,
bit.
but yeah. But yeah, definitely. And you actually went to school with Jess, didn't you? So yeah,
did,
that
yes.
school's kicked out some badass women.
I
That's it.
know.
Annalisa.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
really good. I'm
crazy.
going to send my kids to that school. But yeah, looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to your recipe book, which will be incredible.
Yes.
So watch this space, everyone. And looking forward to our shoot.
Yes, definitely. I'm going to do that.
Yeah, that'll be really good.
Yeah.
But thank you so much for
thank
coming
you.
on. It's been a pleasure.
I hope I've not waffled.
No, it's an amazing story, and it just shows how powerful we are, which I always going on about, your mind to body connection, and what you are, what you eat. The saying "you are what you eat" is exactly a perfect explanation of how you healed yourself within such a small amount of time. And so, anybody that is sick, I mean, I'm sure you
Well, I
will.
get loads of people like asking help and questions on it, like, especially over Instagram and stuff. But when they tell them
What they've got to do.
it's often...
It's laziness though, isn't it? So how well do you want to get better? How well do you want to heal? And that's the thing. And I think as a society, we've become so lazy in every sense.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
There's a pill for everything now.
Yeah, and it doesn't help that then the government's saying, don't go outside, don't exercise, don't get any sunlight, stay at home, don't, there's no promotion of anything that's
Healthy.
good for us.
No.
It's just the opposite. And if you're willing to sit there and listen to that, then you will live a life not as fulfilled and beautiful as yours
And yours.
and mine.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.